All right, so this particular problem gives us an equation, gives us a graph, and immediately you're thinking, okay, I've got to graph this, and then you're thinking, okay, great, it's in slope-intercept form, so I'll just start at my y-intercept, and then I'll graph by using my slope. What you do is you get a graph that counts it wrong, and then you raise your hand and you're like, Miss Embry, I've got this exact same graph, and it counted it wrong. Yeah, because you didn't read the directions. The directions say graph using the X and Y intercepts. So it knows if you plotted the X-intercept and the Y-intercept, or just plotted the Y-intercept and then used your slope. So you got to use your X and your Y-intercepts. Now the great thing about this one is that it's already in slope-intercept form, so we actually already know that our Y-intercept is 7. But let's pretend like we didn't know that. Like, let's just pretend like we needed to find our X and Y-intercepts. So in order to find our X-intercept, we have to let Y be 0. Because anywhere on this X-axis, no matter where the line crosses on this X-axis, Y would be 0. So to find our X-intercept, we let Y equal 0. So I'm going to take my equation, Y equals 7x plus 7, and I'm going to replace the Y with a 0. So 0 is equal to 7x plus 7. And then I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. Negative 7 equals 7x. I'm going to divide 3 by 7 so that x is equal to negative 1. Now, remember, it's an x and y intercept, which means it's probably going to need to be a point on the graph. Points on the graph are written as ordered pairs. So the ordered pair would be negative 1, because that's what x is. And what was y? Well, y was 0. So my ordered pair would be negative 1, 0. Okay? That's how I find the x-intercept. Now, to find the y-intercept, we do something similar. Again, if it's in we can kind of cheat a little bit and already know what the y-intercept is. But let's say if it were in standard form or something else and we didn't, we have to know how to find the y-intercept. So in order to find the y-intercept, which is where it's going to cross on the y-axis, any point on the y-axis is going to have an x that's 0. So to find the y-intercept, I have to let x equal 0. So I'm going to use my formula, or my equations they gave me, and I'm going to make y is going to be equal to 7 times 0 plus 7. Well, 7 times 0 is 0. So y is going to be equal to 0 plus 7. Well, 0 plus 7 is 7. So y equals 7, which we already knew. Let's be realistic, we already knew that. But if I have to write that as an ordered pair, my x was 0 and my y was 7. So now when I get ready to go to my math lab to graph, what I can do is I will graph the point negative 1, 0. So negative 1, 0, right there. And then my second point on that graph will not be using the slope. It will be my y-intercept of 0, 7. So that would be what I would do. And then it would draw the line for me, and then it would count it correctly. And yes, I know that if you graphed it using the slope and the y-intercept, it's the same graph. I get that. But that's not what it's asking you to do. It's asking you to graph using the x and the y-intercept so that we can make sure that you understand how to do that as well as how to graph using slope-intercept form.